W- Mm. Okay. Little running behind here a minute. Let's see. Okay, so we're getting started. I have to live stream to get this recording going here. Damn. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm like crazy busy right now. Anyway, okay, so we're ready to go. Um, hmm. So hi everyone, welcome to the Goldfish Report. Little quite swamps here. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, April 17th, 2026. And this is Goldfish Report number 1204. This is a geopolitical report, an update on what is going on in our world. We're going to talk about, I'm going to take my glasses off. Can't see anything with them on anymore or with them off sometimes either. The last war to end all wars. We're going to talk about JD Vance reopening the pizza files. Congress going after Frazzle Drip video from the Jeffany, I'm sorry, from the Jeffany. That's a new one. What a Freudian slip that was. From the Anthony Weiner laptop that she's going to reopen the files. They said that she needed a new subpoena, and you can only have a new subpoena if there's new information, and she's using the Epstein files as the basis of the new information. Trump's also going after the Vatican. It's all connected to the pedo operations, cabal empire wars, and everything else. So buckle up. We have quite a report for you here tonight. Just going to check in and see if this is running live and everything's going okay here with this live stream. Yeah, okay. So I see, oh, hello. Okay. So I see Johnny and Inger and JJ. How are you guys? Welcome. Glad that you're joining me. Get from the California desert. Yeah, it must be hot out there, huh? So let's just get into this. I have so much to report on tonight. I really just need to get started. So, what do we have here? We have First, before I get started, I wanted to tell everybody that we had a guest on the Goldfish Report, Dr. Michael Hollick, who has talked about his research for decades on vitamin D, the active form of vitamin D. Important for everybody to take those supplements, actually, what he recommends is that we get around 15 minutes of sun a day, but it all depends on your skin tone. The deeper skin color you have, the longer it takes for you to absorb that vitamin D. So you just want to be careful. You can't put the sunscreen on and then go out because it will block the absorption of those rays. So after 15 minutes, then put it on. So that's how that works. But Dr. Hollick is running at 80 years old, his third Boston Marathon on the 20th. And we want to wish Dr. Hollick all of our best support. We'll be praying for him and watching him on the app. The Boston Athletic Club will have an app where you can watch, and I will be posting this on our X page at Report Goldfish. So if you're on X, go on X on Monday the 20th, I think that is. Is that Monday or Sunday? I don't even know what day it is. I'm so busy these days. Let's just see. This is Friday. Yeah. So the 20th is Monday. That's the Boston Marathon. I will be posting updates. I will be using that app. I will be posting from that app and his shirt number, his entry number, and all of that. We're going to wish Dr. Hollick the absolute best. So now to move on. Just see. Good evening. Thanks for joining me. Let's get into it. as you know, this week, Trump has announced that he will be giving Americans tariff dividend checks. And he actually referred to it as a system. So it appears that this is not going to be the only one. Coincidentally, we also had Elon Musk this morning, very early, post about how there would be not universal basic income, but universal high income in order to um, deal with the unemployment that's coming as a result of the AI overtaking many jobs. That's what he's calling it, right? So this will end up being a system. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Trump said it would be in April. So it would be sometime this month, which would be nice. Everybody could use a few extra bucks in their pockets, right? Um, but this has to do with high income that would help with unemployment due to jobs lost to AI. So what a an impact on humanity. I mean, where's even the ethics committee on dealing with this and the consequences of what this is going to do to humanity? I mean, we don't even nobody's even paying attention to this. Nobody's paying attention to this. But Congress is talking about frazzle drip. Lauren Boebert is trying to open this up. And nobody knows that they're talking about human alien hybrids in Congress. It's being posted all over social media. The average person doesn't know this stuff. All right. Benny Johnson has been talking with J.D. Vance post regarding Jeffrey Epstein, regarding these files, regarding what was happening. It's coming back. It kind of wanes, right? It comes back, it goes away, something else takes over the spin cycle, then it comes back, and it comes back again. So that's how this is working, because the people can really only handle. Hi, Winston. Hey, Winston Strout's in the house. Hi, Winston. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah. So this is what's happening. But there's big news, operations to expose this whole global syndicate. Like, you didn't know you were going to be alive to witness this, but you are. And this is what's happening. The syndicate, the global syndicated cabal systems, the adrenochrome harvesting, the pedo operations, the intelligence connected to intelligence communities, connected to churches. Are you ready? Oh man. Whew. It's already getting hot in here. The Pentagon summoned the Vatican. Trump went right after the Vatican, and we saw that. Did we not see that in Trump's first term when he and Melania and Ivanka Trump went to the Vatican, and the two ladies looked like they were there for a funeral, and they had which they were really, they had the little black, scarf over their face, and they were, it's amazing. And Trump was all smiles, and at the time the Pope was very unhappy about the visit, right? But this is interesting now, right? Because we have in Congress right now, they're talking for bringing back this pizza situation, right? And the Vice President, J.D. Vance, is talking about investigations into this pizza situation, right? Connecting it to Epstein, the gates, right? Pizza Gate, right? Right. So they went and removed Pam Bondi, and put in Blanche, saying that he's not gonna reopen this again. But that's not up to him. So POTUS and the VT both are talking about how the FBI published a website. It really circulated for many years on social media about symbols and codes that pedophiles use, and it's prolifically found throughout the throughout the emails, the Hillary Clinton emails, right? Between in Podesta, the code words, the hot dogs, the walnut sauce. I mean, it's just disgusting. And these are the people that were running the world, folks, right? And they were using these terms oh, you just wait. It's going to be, very difficult for people to hear what is on this insurance file on this Wiener laptop. But this is coming back. Congress is talking about this, but like nobody's watching what Congress is doing. Anyway, Vance has stated that we need to have investigations. the whole pizza and the grape juice, what are they talking about in these coded messages, right? Or grape soda in the Epstein files, which we can connect back to other files, right? Um, Epstein had extraordinary connections with very powerful elites. And there's clips of him talking about this uh on this USA, I'm sorry, the Turning Point USA clip. And I do have one. It's not this particular clip. But actually, let me go to that clip right now. I will go to that clip um and show you which one I'm talking about. Yeah, here it is. Because he starts to talk about, as I said, they're going after the Vatican. And this is really, amazing. A lot of people don't really realize what the Vatican was really doing and what they were really up to. And you're going to have a hard time, kind of accepting all of this. But here it goes. Take a listen.
People will say that, Erica, she's been doing this or she's been doing that, and I would be doing something different. And it's like, first of all, that's fine. Like, if you want to criticize somebody because you have a disagreement, disagree with my politics, disagree with something that Erica or Andrew say on the Turning Point podcast, but this desire to go after her for the way she's grieving her husband, that's the most preposterous thing I've seen in a very long time, and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in politics.
Amen. Thank you for saying that, Mr. Vice President.
Wasn't cued to the right
So
spot.
I think this segues very well into our next question here. You are a practicing Catholic. You're, despite your language, you're attempting to be a faithful Catholic.
That's right.
I think it was well placed, if I may say.
It.
I'm sure you've seen that the Vatican and the Pope and the President have been in the news lately. So as a Catholic, what does it feel like to be, in the middle of that?
I thought I was going to get easy questions. This is kind of a tough question here.
Nope, no easy ones there.
So here's the thing about this. So first of all, you will sometimes hear people say, well, the Vatican, the church, whether it's the Protestant church, the Catholic church, they should preach the gospel, they should ignore public policy. I actually don't agree with that. I actually think that it's a good thing when Christian leaders, whether they're Catholic or Protestant, part of preaching the gospel is talking about how the gospel applies to the issues of the day. So I've never been one of these people who say that you should never have, Christian leadership not talking about politics, or frankly, political leaders not talking about their Christian faith. But I do think that we have to remember that, each of us has our own role. I'm the Vice President of the United States. The fundamental way I understand my role is that I'm trying to take the lessons, the moral truths that are rooted in Christianity, and I'm trying to apply them to a whole host of complicated real-world scenarios. Thank you.
All right. Well, you know what? That really wasn't the clip that I wanted to. It wasn't the clip. Sorry about that. Well, he was talking about it, but he wasn't talking. The thing is that they should have gotten into more. There might be more there, but I'm not going to waste any more time. They are going after the Vatican. They are, because we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's really time. It's time because this is the war to end all wars. This is really massive changes that are happening on the planet right now. Again, USA leaders, including Lauren Boebert, talking about the frazzle drip from the Anthony Weiner laptop. Lauren Boebert talking about how these NYPD officers, 9 of them, supposedly or allegedly committed suicide after viewing this. She says it's very suspicious. She wants to see this insurance file. She wants to see what this frazzle file is about. And if it's nothing, she'll tell us. And if it's not, she'll tell us that as well. But the deep state is facilitating ops connected to sex rings in DC and globally. The super dark stuff was used for blackmailing celebrities and athletes, some law enforcement as well as intel agencies, and it's all connected. It's all deep, folks. This is so deep. Oh man, just wait. So she says Lauren Boebert says she wanted to see the laptop and what's in the files. And again, like I said earlier, they had told her that she needed to have new information. So she says, well, these code words are also used in the Epstein files, uh jerky. This is just it's the bottom of the pit, folks. I mean, it's like it's the scum of the earth is really what we're talking about here. Okay. What is it with this laptop? She says she wants to know, what was going on. And what really happened in this video is horrific. It's just unimaginable. I don't really think human beings, generally speaking, I don't think, unless they're like demonic, demon possessed, or they sold their soul to Satan. I don't think that we're good people. We have good hearts. We're made in God's image. We have the creator in us, with us, around us. This isn't something that we do, but they're torture videos, and they're used inside intel agencies. And this was a horrific event of they literally took a scalpel and removed this little girl's face, and it was reported allegedly that one of them had placed it on their face and danced around at the girl. I mean, they torture them, and this is how they get this adrenochrome. I'm probably going to get banned off of YouTube tonight for this, but we have a congresswoman talking about this, and the military heads who are unaware. In fact, it's very hard to believe, right? But there are military heads, very high levels, who are unaware of what was happening and want this disclosed. Many good people had difficulty believing these things could even be true. So Congress is going after Anthony Weiner laptop. You're going to see that. The two laptops out there, massive story with the intel agencies, want to bring out the real exposure. That's why Hunter Biden's been kind of quiet lately. But if this wasn't timed correctly, this really could have triggered a world war because of the power and resources that these people have. So now we have, back to the Vatican, the Catholic Church, the corruption is so huge and massive. But that's not really all that shocking, considering all of the lawsuits. We just hear over and over. For years, we've been hearing about these lawsuits about children being, abused by Catholic priests. It doesn't seem very godly to me, does it? And I was raised Catholic, so I get it. This is, I kind of, I had to leave the church because I just couldn't. Once I, was uncovering this information, I could no longer support the church. Not to say that the people who were in the congregation, the people were good people. I worked at a food pantry. We were helping the poor. We were helping people who needed to eat. I was teaching CCD. We were trying to help instill good, compass, a good moral compass to the children, give them something to understand and, know right from wrong, things like that. And so I think the people that make up the church is totally different than the people who participate in the church, and what really happened here is we have back in the 60s and 70s, they created these church branches and placed priests in these positions, and many of them were fronts for intelligence operations. Many throughout New York City were Russian. We had, all the usual suspects, right? MI6, so forth, people put in power directly in the USA and in Chile, Brazil, and in other places connected to the Catholic Church. These were connected to pedo operations, and they were also connected. It's very hard to bring out these operations because the mainstream media would always cover them up. And of course, the whistleblowers would always be killed. And this couldn't have come out sooner. There was no way that the state of the media at the time would report this in any way. So the Vatican was warned. Trump, it might seem like Trump is flip-flopping a little bit, but he has a method to his madness, and he's trying to give comms. He's trying to warn people. He's talking about the Red Cross, which leads back to the Rothschilds, the Orsini families used to facilitate really pedo operations and moving so much gold and money connected to human trafficking, sex, darker stuff like the adrenochrome stuff and the jerky. It's crazy, but I mean, it's just crazy. Been reporting about this for a really long time. It comes from, yeah, So let's keep moving along. This scandal will erupt with the Vatican and it will cause the Vatican to collapse, according to my sources. Trump talks about Pope Leo facilitating dark pedo stuff in Brazil, Chile. Nazi ops had relocated in Brazil, and the CIA was placing them down there, dealing with trafficking and heading up to the USA, all the even Canadian, and I just kind of went back and forth, the children, right? But this was all kind of, so Trump's been calling out Pope Leo's corruption, how he was elected, how he was brought in, and how he's been trying to bring Trump down ever since he's been brought in, even though he's from the United States, right? But the Pope, the Catholic system, when the Pope speaks, it's going to be hard for some people because many people view the Pope as the intermediary between, like, he's getting messages directly from God, and I really have a hard time believing that. But especially in Italy, right? I mean, when the Pope says something, you do it. I mean, that's how it's always been. But many people, believe in that system. So this has been warfare going after Trump and trying to uh get rid of him because they knew this was coming, the whole thing. Congress and Senate are now going after all of this, including, as I said in the opening, they're talking about aliens, they're talking about hybrids. It's massively trending behind the scenes in Australia and the USA. They're all talking about it openly, actually. Again, so Lauren Boebert, the VP Vance, investigating this, connected to the Vatican, connected to the intel agencies. It's really bigger than people can even imagine. The churches were being used for money trafficking, for pedo operations, for spying, intelligence. Very sad, huh? People going in for confessions, right? Yeah, and then they get, who knows what happens afterwards, right? Churches around the world. So even this goes back to when a certain person was governor of Arkansas. This whole Iran-Contra scandal, running direct flights into Arkansas, um, bringing in drugs, children, women, men, murderers, you name it, right? So this is all connected to that. It's all going to come out. I mean, I'm telling you, it looks like everything's going to be spilled out into the open. And however they're going to facilitate that, I'm not privy to all of those mechanisms, including the Oklahoma City bombing, the FBI building there. So what was going on is investigations that the White Hats were beginning to find out about these pedo operations, but the dark side of the CIA got all of the data, allegedly, according to my source, right? Got all of the data, relocated it to this one building where files were stored. And then it was planned that they would destroy the building and thus the files would go. But the White Hat military behind the scenes cloned those servers and computers and saved all the data, uh, everything. So, when they say it's forever, they mean it, right? When they say the internet's forever, they mean it, right? But even Benny Johnson, though, is very, well connected to getting certain direct reports from behind the scenes. So he's also somebody who would be good to be paying attention to right now. But Trump is setting up everything. The USA is going after the Vatican, and there's huge infighting in the Vatican. Connects back to Hollywood. Um, so what's interesting is that people will allegedly, according to my sources, it's in their opinion that people will start to disappear. They're going to talk about mind control. They're going to talk about the celebrities, the athletes. Um, their their minds will begin to break. So it has to do with the MK Ultra. Um, the CIA will go after some of them, and many will go crazy because they want to stop them from talking. Yeah. So it's kind of weird because even Robert De Niro's gone quiet after this Eric Swalwell scandal, right? He stepped down. So it's interesting. We also have Musk working with some actors, I guess more on the positive side, like Mel Gibson, working on creating films. So I guess that would lead to some other disclosure projects that will also be coming out. So we have these conservatives talking about massive plans about going after Iran, choking off China, and China wants to work with Trump. Uh, Tells Iran to end this war now. I think we've pretty much seen that over the past week. Trump wants to go to China to meet with Xi Jinping and kind of find out what exactly is going on, because it's really it's time. It's a big chess move. If they want to continue war, Trump will control the oil in the markets, which we've seen. So the minute Trump announced that that the Strait of Hormuz was open, the oil prices started dropping, and of course, the stock market started to go up again. So it really does show how sensitive um, these policy moves are, and especially foreign policy moves are, with regard to the entire world market. And it's not all. Uh, USA will win. Trump is playing a masterful chess move at this point. Trump is stopping the terrorist operations and the drug trades in combination with the alliance operations. Tehran was one of the world's biggest meth suppliers in the world. Most people don't know this, but completely collapsed those operations. The big labs were destroyed. So this is part of what we're doing in there. And of course, to remove the uranium and uh, China was sending weapons to Iran, so that had to be stopped. This is the war to end all wars. This has to be it. There's never going to be peace on this planet with the crime that's happening here. So Trump went to stop the wars that kept uh that keep erupting over there, and it's and the money situation as well. So he's stopping the money that's connected to London, that's connected to the oil trade, and connected to trafficking to China. So the Republic of China is what were they helping Iran? Oh, they're telling Iran to end the war. That's really what's happening, to make a deal with Trump. So Trump tells China to stop sending weapons to Iran, and the CCP deep state is still trying to create a world war, and they are absolutely scared. So you have to understand the CCP is one major faction who was running China. So they were the cabal behind China. But the collapse inside China right now is interesting because there's millions of people that really could be people who are involved in facilitating this coup d'etat of China. They're going to be found guilty of treason and probably, you know, dealt with the way they deal with them in China. Uh, they're scared that China's collapse, because uh she and of course the dragon families would probably want mass executions to those who broke their country apart. And they're talking about, you don't really realize the number of people, but we're talking about, millions and millions of people, possibly. A second, that's the right one. They want accountability. uh Military tribunals, they're already underway. We see accountability. That's what we want. Um, but the death penalty is, I mean, if you're talking about millions of people being executed, right? I mean, we're talking in China, that number is going to be like around, I don't know, according to my sources, around anywhere from 30 to 70 million people executed, which is really huge. That's just a huge, huge number. But we want the world to be free of criminals. But this is potentially huge. But people who that's usually how they deal with traitors. They deal with people convicted of corruption in China. They don't get to stick around. So that's how it's heavy though. That's very heavy. It's a huge number of people. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but this is the estimate. Military. Currently, we have military judges uh, that Trump has been hiring to proceed over the grand jury indictments, secret grand jury indictments in DC, which General Flynn told people about publicly not that long ago. The USA is imposing a military blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. And what they're getting is about 250 million per ship in oil supplies. I find that maybe that's profit. I don't know. I'm just not quite sure. They grow a lot of food in Iran and of course fertilizer for the whole world. So it is important to keep that port open and to keep those ships moving through there. But for Trump to block off the shipping, the blockings of mass amount of revenue for Iran. So there's a lot of infighting, just tons of infighting inside Iran. Um, I think there's just different like military groups too inside Iran, different factions or whatever you want to call them. Some want to make deals with Trump and some want to keep fighting. But Trump's giving comms, and it's connected to banking and families and military running ops with Trump. So Trump will release funds. So this is to help with rebuilding and help with Iran. So will Russia. Kirill Dmitry, who has um, facilitating talks about the new financial system inside of Iran. Russia and China will give Iran money to help rebuild as well. And of course, Mohammed bin Salman. And you knew that in the first term of Trump, you knew that there was an alliance. We reported on it and you've seen it. That Trump really had the world capitulating to him because he had it on everybody. Remember the first time, the first Trump administration, with the meme that went around, we've got it all. He meant it. He had everything on everybody. And you know, it's amazing. So Mohammed bin Salman, he saved his life from an assassination attempt in Las Vegas, which was what in part happened in Las Vegas, but that was not the only thing that happened during that Las Vegas shooting. That was also a ritual, um, allegedly. We also have, for the first time, Israel and Lebanon are speaking. They are going to enter the Abraham Accord. And so this is quite interesting. Marco Rubio is facilitating ops between the countries. So the forever wars are not going to happen. Oil is going to come back down as it already started to. But the mainstream media is going to tell you something totally different. It's going to tell you that the gas price is going to be so skyrocketing that nobody's going to be able to afford gas, that the forever wars are going to continue, whatever. But that's just not true. Deep state will keep putting out negative and misinformation about that. That's just what they do. We're still under military continuity of government, facilitating operations connected to military protocols when government shuts down. It's still going to, believe it or not, Tulsi Gabbard right now has been talking about this election, talking about the exposure of the election fraud. We've gotten Maduro over here as an informant, giving our US government all the details of who was involved with the election heist and election fraud. And, you know, I don't know where he is these days, if he's still in New York or not, but moving along. Let me see something here. I've got so many pages, so much news to talk about. Yeah. Now we're also hearing about, what was it this week? Was it Boebert? No, it was Tulsi Gabbard, I think, talking about how the impeachment, how Obama orchestrated the impeachment of Trump. And that and she literally called him out for treason and said that that Obama is being investigated. Like, people, did you really think that we'd ever hear this in our lifetime, right? It's hard to imagine. Let's just check out our yeah, let's check out our live stream. Hi everybody. Just let me say hello real quick. Hello. Yeah. Johnny GoldFish. So he said, have you heard from Cobra lately? No, I haven't heard from Cobra. He'll respond if I email him something, but you know, he's got different objectives these days, I suppose, in their operations. So our paths haven't crossed right now. Yeah, Joanne, I do think the truth is going to come out. Which truth are you talking about, though? But I mean, a lot of the truth is coming out. It's unbelievable. From Clearwater, Florida. Oh yeah, you're down in Clearwater. How is it hot? Is it hot down there? Let's see, what else do we have here? And hi Karen. Oh yeah, how's it going over there? Boy, I heard of some you have a really deep trench to the north of your island there, right? New Zealand. And you just had a couple of 5.7 earthquakes over there. I hope everybody's all right. Mhm. All right, so let's keep going back to let's get back onto the topic here. It's hard to believe. I mean, look, they're talking about when this week, it's a lot of news this week, right? No, Trump says he's going to end the IRS. He's going to end the property taxes. This is huge. Are we really making that much in tariffs that we can just end these, property taxes? I hope so. Because the corruption goes all the way down to your town, goes through the county, and Winston has always said that the power is really at the county level, and that's really where you see different counties. You really see where that election fraud happened, especially in Maricopa County. You see that down in Georgia. I think there was another county there. I don't remember the name of it, but I mean, it's all over the place. You're seeing it. It's they have to see the writings on the wall. They really just need to kind of have some truth and reconciliation, or become an informant and make some kind of deal, right? I don't know. That's certainly not my job to inform criminals what they should do. They should get an attorney for that, right? But so we have exposure of Epstein, the Vatican, the pedo, occult, satanic operations, even COVID-19. It's all on a collision course, folks. All this stuff is coming. And it will continue to grow. It'll continue. Everything is happening in stages. And it kind of, as I said earlier, kind of moves back and forth where you have, oh, were you guys hearing me okay? Because I don't think my volume was up all right. Hopefully it's all right. The exposure of aliens, things that were hidden. So let me just see if I can pull this up. There's a website, I think it's called quantum.gov. And this is where the government has, let me see if I can pull that up. Okay, let's take a look at this together because I just pulled it up. This is called quantum.gov, and this is the National Quantum Initiative. This is federal source and gateway to quantum R&D across the government. Interesting, huh? I mean, it's a big deal for the government to put a website up regarding quantum energy, right? Quantum technology. It says here, and of course, there's lots of yeah, this is like a coordinated approach to quantum networking research, because I know that they're doing that with a lot of universities, bringing quantum sensors to fruition, National Security Memorandum 10 on quantum computing, advanced international cooperation. So there's a lot really going on here with regard to National Quantum Initiative Act. He signed that in 2018. And we're not just talking about quantum computers. Let's see, for quantum computing, different qubits are better together. So here they are, but it's more than that. Nanotechnology, we're talking about the NSF, National Science Foundation, launches a $100 million National Quantum and Nanotechnology Research Infrastructure Program. So it does look, on this, but this is nanotechnology. So this is, this is who knows where we're really going with this. Look at all the agencies involved in this, right? So are we talking about what we're talking about here is quantum. This is facilitating operations with scientists about quantum fields of energy. This this really is saying different dimensions. We're talking hyperspeed, anti-gravity, electrogravitics, things of this nature. They're all being researched. So I guess if I were to kind of snoop around here a little bit more, I could find a little bit more detail. And it isn't just about quantum computers. Let's see, more news. Most of it does look like that it is, though, but I don't think they're really going to put, I could be wrong. High energy physics. So this is it. DOE announces 71 million for research and QIS enabled discoveries in high energy physics. So that's different, right? National Quantum Information Science Research Centers. Hmm. So DARPA to host Proposers Day for Robust Quantum Sensors Program. Yeah, virtual laboratories. I mean, there's this stuff, lots of it. You can go here and check it out yourself. It's quantum.gov. And I think you should check it out because we're talking about, as I said, different dimensions. And uh JD Vance had said also that he felt that these aliens were interdimensionals. Well, that says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, if they're interdimensionals, then we have a whole lot of physics to learn. And that's really what this is, what's happening. People are talking about these hybrids. I think there's an alien domain as well. I interviewed what's his name? What's his name? I interviewed Dr. Drew Horace. No, Dr. Horace Drew. I always get those names confused. He's a Caltech um I guess what is he? Bioengineer of some kind. Um he decoded triple binary code, which we don't use here. He decoded that from the crop circles that were found in the UK and was able to decode many messages. And not just that, he is currently working on prototypes of anti-gravity systems based on the what he calls their schematics, which are what some of these crop circles are. They're actually schematic diagrams of how to create anti-gravity, or I'm not sorry, not anti-gravity, propulsion technologies. And you know, some of the messages are quite profound, and I would suggest scrolling down on my BitChute channel to find that interview. Anyway, this is also leading to the ability for, as I've reported in the past, shape-shifting properties of certain materials. For instance, the sand. It's a special sand. They say they are able to get it from the moon. Now, I don't know. I kind of always felt the moon was a plasma in nature, but maybe the plasma's in the front of something. I don't know. I just don't know, right? It's all relied to about everything, but we don't know what the truth is. But this has to do with plasma energy. So this quantum initiative is related to this. according to my source. That website is related to this research on these materials, this shape-shifting property of this sand and this plasma energy, these nanotechnology, they're nano particles, as we read there on their website. Matt Getz, it was Matt Getz, I'm sorry, it wasn't JD Vance, it was Matt Getz, and I reported that last week, was talking about the shapeshifters, alien hybrids connected to plasma energy. And what are these aliens? Intelligent. There's also this intelligent water from previous civilizations that are under the desert, under Nevada, under Groom Lake. Alien bases and technology, ancient civilizations, intelligent water that shapeshifts, moon dust. Adding nanoparticles can make it shapeshift in many different forms. And I bet you that that research that they're funding on that website has to do with this technology. Connected to advanced technology, move molecular structure and frequencies to create basically animals and people, right? So the Bible says in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was, it was like the spoken word spoke us into being, right? The frequency, the frequency. So this is kind of all along that same thing there. It's very advanced technology. They have advanced technology that actually mimics this. So just, that's why there's a lot of stuff going on. USA military is in control of very powerful and infinite source energy. So there you have it. That's the website. Whether those, I presume those three-letter agencies are probably involved in that. They're referring to it as infinite source of energy, living light. This is really what Nikola Tesla was discovering, what he was creating, literally living energy fields. Interesting stuff, folks. It's all gonna, it's hard to believe. So many people feel like the world is ending. And I don't know, there's this cataclysmic cycle that, everyone's talking about with regard to this pole shift, that the magnetic pole has been migrating, and it, at some point it's going to cause a massive Earth, crustal shift to happen. Some are projecting 2027 that's going to happen. That's cataclysmic. So I guess they want to tag everybody. They want to be able to control everybody through the control grid that Catherine Austin Fitts is talking about. You see, it's not like there's one agenda, and I think that's what confuses people. There's really at least two big ones. There's smaller ones, but there's two big ones. There's the good versus evil. I mean, we still have a lot of evil on this planet, and those people still have a lot of control and a lot of power. And there's this alliance that, wants to bring out. Yeah, it's like the end of the wars. It's the end of the what do they call it? So I'll get to that in a minute. I'll just keep going. Yeah, so I'll get to that in just a minute. Sorry about that clip at the beginning. Darn clip. It was the wrong one. All right. Zelensky made a video of these AI systems like controlling attack robots, and he thought, he claimed it took out all these Russian soldiers and everything, right? But the truth is, we have sonic weapons, we have directed energy weapons. The old EMP weapons that used to create blackouts are now static weapons that can destroy robots and just fry all of their, equipment. Of course, Russia has super advanced weapons as well, but they don't talk about it. Russia has systems to annihilate these robots. So it's quite funny that, he would put out a video about that, and, it's very likely he got his butt kicked on that as well. But this kinetic war is almost over. It's almost the end game. At the end game theory, military ops used by alliances, the alliance, Trump, the military, as quick as possible, bringing down the CCP, the trafficking, the end of the operations around the world, to stop the world operations of the cabal. Because the truth is, there's very super advanced technology, quantum fields. This golden dome is not what everybody thinks. It's not like the same Iron Dome that you see over Israel. This is not the same thing. It's a very, very powerful telecommunication system, and it uses quantum fields of energy. The U.S. government intelligence is behind the military, and also very positive beings. If you want to call them angels, you want to call them spirits, you want to call them divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it, it's behind the scenes. It's facilitating these operations to bring about this golden era that's coming. I'll believe that when I see it. Sorry, not to, take away the sacrifices that I know that our guys in the field, our military, we don't even know half of what they're even dealing with on a day-to-day basis. They've been taking out these horrific laboratories, underground bases. God only knows what they've been encountering, what they've had to deal with. Psychologically, I don't know how these guys are standing up to all of it, but we give them our support and our love. Absolutely. Very powerful energy that's on Earth, and it moves on its own, super quantum advanced technology. And this is yeah, so we'll continue. Let's get back to the geopolitical stuff, because that's really where this is going to go. It's super, they want, like, we can't have first contact. Like, we can't really have that kind of first contact until all the wars and all the hostilities and all that are under control. Remember Mikio, I always do this. I always forget some part of somebody's name. Kaku, right? That's his name, Michio Kaku. He's a physicist, a theoretical physicist from City University of New York. And he's constantly on, the major network news, commenting on things of physics. And he has stated, and he said this even years ago, that right now Earth is a level 0 civilization where we still have kinetic wars and all kinds of things. Well, these kinetic wars are ending because they want, you know, in order for us to become a level 1 civilization where we can become like intergalactic, I don't know how that's going to look, but we have to end these kinetic wars. So it's really amazing to see. We're kind of like really in a Star Wars situation. I I really think that's our story. It's probably very close to it. Anyway, big stuff going on. NATO refuses to help. When NATO refused to help Trump, Trump now is going after NATO. Behind the scenes, he will. Um, there is a dispute between Turkey and with NATO. Turkey is close with Russia and China moving missiles. China's moving missiles to and defense systems through Turkey and Serbia to Iran. Erdogan um, considers Israel an enemy at this point, and he's saying publicly that he may have to declare war on Israel. Um, and that's going to be interesting. So huge debacle is going to happen. Trump will have to make a choice about NATO. There's a huge debacle happening within NATO right now at this moment. A lot of infighting in the military and the intel agencies worldwide. Um, there's a lot going on. And then of course we have the Clarity Act that's making its way through Congress and making its way to be passed. The Clarity Act is going to outline all the laws and rules for stable coins and cryptocurrency. And, and I found it interesting that that announcement happened, right? Just as Elon Musk also, tweeted that Supposedly he's working with the Space Force. Supposedly this version, Elon 2.0, clearly it doesn't look the same as the first one, but Elon 2.0 is working with the Space Force. Um, Government contractors, they're still government. So, I mean, he's still involved, and he tweeted this morning, like very early in the morning, that there was going to be universal high income to deal with the unemployment of AI. But I thought that was interesting that it came at the same time as the announcement of this Clarity Act being passed, which would really outline all the digital rules about um, banking. Um, Get ready, folks. I mean, these ideas, I've done reports on this whole new blockchain financial system, this whole new digital currency environment that we're going into. Catherine Austin Fitts has for years been calling this a digital control grid. And it certainly can be that if we allow it to be that. I don't, think CBDCs are in our best interest whatsoever. It's our responsibility collectively to make sure that these technologies are used for our benefit and not for our enslavement, because China has already got the prototype out there. And when I think it was Vietnam, when Vietnam tried to incorporate this, they had to end up, people did not want to cooperate. And 86 million, it was reported that over 80 million, it could have been 86 million, over 80 million bank accounts were deleted uh, because either they were, according to the reports, the media who was reporting on this said many of these accounts were doubles, or many, were maybe like unused, or I find it hard to believe 80 million accounts would be unused, but people just did not want this control grid coming in to their life. And I hate to say that we're going to have to make some sacrifices, again, of our freedoms of, all these operations, all these things we've been talking about, these are all unconstitutional. We didn't have a constitution since 1871. And, of course, Winston's talked about that many times. And it's time to, it's the end of our money going to the Vatican and to London, our tax-paying money. I mean, probably very little of it went to the government, which is why they probably ran all those black operations with drug running and trafficking and everything else. Because it was being paid to London and to the Vatican. So the conspiracies are real, folks. I mean, we have, who was it? Was it recently who said, the conspiracy theorists are all right. They're like, 10-0 at this point, right? It is a big conspiracy. And I think, in the 70s when the CIA came up with, or 60s when the CIA came up with the term conspiracy theorist, it was to discredit any other narratives or theories of the JFK assassination that may have come up by other witnesses or other people, and to control the narrative. And, we have to just be asking a lot of questions all the time, and, being careful about, drawing conclusions too quickly. So let me check in with the live chat and see how everybody's doing tonight. Pope is no more closer to God than you or I or any of us. The Pope believes he should. I think he's further from God. I think we're closer to God, Joanne, because I think he's evil, the Pope. All right, Karen, we have had earthquakes all the time around New Zealand, but it's the cyclones doing damage with the wind and flooding through the, oh gosh, well, we pray you guys can stay safe. Which doctor? Karen Fine? Which doctor? I'm sorry, we're referring to Winston. Be suspicious of any name from South Africa that starts with L. Yeah. Is that, or that starts with, yeah, L, of course. Yeah. Good advice, Winston. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is big stuff, guys. And, I really hope that you enjoyed this report. Please share it far and wide. There's a lot going on. Stay safe out there, Karen. I know. And they're saying that they're saying that, yeah, we can do weather. We do have the technology to control and steer weather and stuff. Hormone. Oh. Here, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you. Let's see. This was, oh yeah, Lauren Boebert's just like she wants to get Ilhan Omar out of office because she wants to expel Ilhan Omar from Congress because Omar committed immigration fraud. So this is get her out, get them all out. If they're not loyal to the U.S. Constitution and the American people, get them out. That's it. Too many people took bribes. I have a feeling most of Congress is just going to disappear at some point. We're just going to have to get new people in there. We've got, we had the whole Swalwell thing with Fan or Fate, whatever her name is, and oh my God, they're all deviants, aren't they? Yeah, it's all going to come out. Here it is, Lauren Boebert. Oh, here it is. I'm going to screen share it so it's not hearsay, folks. This is real stuff. Real stuff that's happening, right? Boebert demands access to Wiener laptop that holds evidence proving Pizzagate. So here, take a listen to this before we end the program.
I actually was working on getting the Anthony Weiner laptop because I want to see the files that are on this. And while we still had Attorney General Pam Bondi, she had sent me over to the FBI, and there is no active search warrant on that computer. And so they are saying that I am unable to view it without a new search warrant. And there has to be new information. I think these Epstein files give us new information to look into the Anthony Weiner laptop.
Yeah.
I absolutely want to know what was on there, what was the secret folder that was titled Life Insurance, that had frazzle.rip, where people get the frazzle drip story from. I want to see this video. If it's totally fake, if it's not there, I'll come out and say it. I want to see what people are talking about. These things don't just originate out of nowhere. So if it means issuing a subpoena from the Oversight Committee to get my hands on this laptop, then that's what I will do. If there's anything linking the Anthony Weiner laptop to the Epstein files, I will use that to get another search warrant. But I'm getting my hands on this laptop and looking to see what was in it. It's been said that FBI agents who went in and viewed this laptop, many of them are not alive anymore. And so, what is it with this laptop? Apparently, it's been said that many have committed suicide, that it was so disturbing. But also, a lot of people around Hillary Clinton and her cohorts seem to commit suicide, oddly.
There's a whole Wikipedia page.
A whole page.
Yes, that's right. There's a lot to unpack there, Congresswoman. So, why hasn't anybody seen what's on this laptop? And what do you expect to find?
Well, I think originally members of Congress were afraid of it. They were called conspiracy theorists, there was obviously the man who went into Comet Ping Pong Pizza and opened fire. Unacceptable. And so people just want to stay away. I don't want to be associated with it. I'd rather not know. I'm just going to believe the narrative and run with that. I have an election to win. No need to actually dig into something if it's going to cost me my seat and my place in office. So I want to see it. I want to know what's on there and investigate it. There are many things that we still need to investigate.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. And that, infamous body bag count and everything. So let me get over to I'm going to show you who I'm talking about. Let me hold on a second. Give me 1 second to let's see. Yep, here it is. Okay. So while I'm pulling that up, I'm going to screen share Dr. Drew's page. Interesting. He's got a kitty cat on his page. Hold on. Let's share this. This is the gentleman that I had interviewed who I was telling you about, Dr. Horace Drew. He has, he has taken decoded messages in crop circles, the triple binary codes. He's visited these places, of course. He says here, this is a pinned post. What were these 2012 crop pictures trying to tell us? I have built a small scale model which shows a near perfect match to the alien physics. New movie coming soon. And you see he's got his these are some, see, the UFOs fly using the upward spin force from the fast spinning magnet in a three-phase helical magnetic field. This is one of the crop circles, and this is how he duplicated this. Basically was a schematic. So his channel is at it's at Red Collie One, which is his that's what a nickname is that he has. I mean, he's just got videos, lots of videos. He shows the diagrams. He you go back there.
So now I've started it spinning slowly, anti-clockwise. We'll go a little faster. Say 20 hertz, which is a moderate spin speed. It gives a little gyroscopic force. And now we're going to turn on the central magnet again. Now before we even turn on the central magnet, you'll see as that one's spinning anti-clockwise, the central magnet is spinning clockwise. So much for the theories of physics taught in textbooks. You can have clockwise spin. You can have clockwise spin at the very center. You see it?
Yes.
And anti-clockwise spin outside. So now I've started it spinning slowly.
Very interesting, because I can remember seeing a UFO off the coast of near where I live, and so it was hard to describe. I'm gonna do a really rudimentary picture of this thing, okay? And then it had it was kind of like this. I don't know. It's hard to describe it, but it's kind of like this. I'm going to show you. All right. This is like the one of them that I saw. And what I'm going to tell you about this is this layer here had lights. Like, I don't know if this was spinning, but the lights were all like it was like the lights, and either this layer was spinning or the lights were just circulating on like each one of them. Do you know what I mean? It was like this light would go on, then this light would go on, then this light. It would just do all the way around, and but it was very fast. And I remember seeing it. This was one of the ones I've seen. I'm going to draw a picture of another one I saw. I've seen several, many of them actually. Crazy stuff, huh? One was like this. I don't know. This is a really rudimentary drawing like this. It looks like a cartoon. It was like a bell, actually. It was really bright green. And some of them have color. Okay, so this one was really bright green. I think it was the Glock or whatever, that time travel one. Somebody was probably checking up on me. And then this one, the lights were orange. But actually I was live streaming when I saw it. And I told everybody, came right back in and saw it. But this is quite interesting. And then I've seen like the triangular ones, and it's all kinds of stuff going on. So I hope everybody enjoyed the report tonight. It was a lot of information. Let's see. Yeah, Hormuz. No, so not sure if you have the spelling. Horace Drew, yeah. But his channel is at Red Collie. I think it's what did he say here? It's Red Collie 1. That's who it is. That's his. You know what? I'll type it here if you want to follow him, okay? So it'd be at oh, the right thing. Here. Red. I think that's it, right? Collie 1. Yeah. There you go. I would just put it in the chat. So we're really at this age, we're at this stage where this is where we're supposed to be going. Now, I guess not everybody is going there, but that's where if you contracted for that, that's what you're going to get. If you didn't contract for that, then I guess you'll go with wherever you contracted for this lifetime. I don't know. But that's what I've got for you tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back next week with another report. And I'll be really happy when this semester is over. I am doing some kind of academic support at a university, so that's good. But I don't really share much of what I do on this report there, because I'm doing something a little different. So trying to up my game though for getting into more digital. Actually, what it's for digital media. So it's all good, and I'll share all that stuff with everybody when the time's right. It's not right yet, but trying to I've been learning a lot though. I've been doing more digital media production work and all kinds of things. So hopefully we'll be able to upgrade the Goldfish Report at some point, or maybe we'll just start brand new. You never know. So thanks to everyone who joined me tonight. I appreciate you being here. And this was packed with information. These are from my source. I thank Storm Rider because he's been very helpful with information and sources. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Have a great weekend, everybody. There's a lot of news out there. Just overwhelming. It's coming at you fast. If I were you, I'd be paying attention to just go on their Twitter page. You'll find out what they're talking about in Congress because they post about it on their X page. Oh God, what generation am I from? I keep calling it Twitter. But just a few people like Burchett and Boebert and Benny Johnson. I'd keep my ear there, and also on the Goldfish Report because we're going to report it too. So let's just keep a pressure on them so we don't have Trump said we weren't going to have CBDCs until 2023. I mean 2030. But it's like, no, never. No, forget about 2030, never. Because then it'll be complete control. And we'll have, what they're doing with China right now. They have for all intents purposes, they have a complete digital surveillance and complete digital control over all the people, whether or not they can access food. People are dying on the streets in China because they didn't have a high enough social credit score to go buy something to eat. I mean, it's kind of inhumane. And they justify it by saying, you have to be an upstanding member of the community, so you have to follow all the rules of the community and do it their way. And that's how it is when you don't have an identity. When you have communism, you have a collectivism, then that's how it operates. But that's not what we have in the United States. And as much as they are hell-bent on trying to make us communist, everybody has to be involved in this. We cannot allow this to happen. So it is good to kind of keep an eye on what's going on with the federal government, with regard to Congress, because it's all coming out. Everything that's coming that I reported tonight, I've already screen shared video to show you this is exactly what's happening. But I'll be back next week and I'll report more. So thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. This concludes this edition of the Goldfish Report. Thanks for joining.